Why don't you watch when you're going, you old goat?
Good evening. Well, I'm using the Samsung F40, and the reason for that is I did some close-up work on this here. This is a Radio Shack DX440 communications receiver. This is the one that I showed you in my very early videos. I picked up last spring at a school yard sale. My grade school that I went to, they have an indoor flea market. I paid $2 for this. The antenna's busted off. It did not come with the AC adapter. I'm using the AC adapter from my good Radio Shack DX440, which works very well, that I bought in the 90s from a buddy of mine. And I'm using it on here. Originally, there was a problem and it wouldn't work on the AC adapter, only on the batteries. But there must have been a loose connection, because I tried it today and it's working just fine. The reason I'm not using the Kodak, I had the actual modification on video, but I had some aggravating problems with my video editing software. Windows Movie Maker is the best out there. It's easy to use, but it had a glitch into the something, and I was like 3/4 the way through it, and I was editing out pieces of the video because it was too long, because my stuff is always too long. And when I did that, it kept going to the beginning all the time. It did it 3 times in a row. I got aggravated and I just deleted all the clips that were in there. There was about 10 of them that were done on the Kodak. So that's why I'm doing this intro over again. So this video is going to be in standard definition, interlaced, which means when I move my hand like this, any movement, you're going to get the jagged lines in there. But this camera does good on zooming and close-ups. So that's why I'm using it now rather than to get the Kodak out. So this has a lot of problems, as you will see in the last few clips that I've already recorded on this camera that I'm using now. I made the mod for the chuffing. You notice you don't hear the chuffing. But you also don't hear anything coming through. FM works really well on this. AM broadcast band isn't too bad, but I don't seem to be getting any on shortwave. And as you will see on towards the end of this video, this section of the radio, the narrow band and wide band FM doesn't seem to be working, even though the FM works okay. The FM broadcast band works just fine, but that switch has no effect. The BFO in and out switch does nothing. The BFO itself, in other words, the beat frequency oscillator, which you need for listening to single sideband, does not work. The RF gain does seem to work. The switch down here where you turn your lock in and out, so when you put your lock on, you're not supposed to be able to turn your stations. That's working now, but it's not always working. Right now it is working. This whole area, as you will see on this video at the end, has a load of corrosion, because I think what happened is the batteries somehow leaked onto the printed circuit board, but yet the contacts in the battery compartment are fine. They're shiny, there's no corrosion. So somehow that's where the batteries are. It must have leaked on the board, and it ruined about 2-inch area of the board. So right in this whole area here on the back, and you will see that later on. I will also show you a close-up of the mod that I had to do. Now, nowhere on YouTube, I haven't been able to find it, is there any mods on a video for the Radio Shack DX440, which is what this is. There is a nice video on a DX390, but not on the DX440. There is no videos for a mod on the DX440. In other words, an actual video that shows you what wire to remove. So I went on some forums, and I got the step-by-step instructions for doing the mod for the chuffing. And I printed this out big enough. Let me just check and see if this camera's recording. I'm having a lot of problems with my videos these days. And I'm doing it in standard definition. You can imagine if I was doing it in HD. Alright. First of all, when you do these mods, you take off 6 screws on the back. I had all this on video, but it's gone now. You remove 6 screws, 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom on the back side. One of the 6 screws is inside the battery compartment. Okay? Make sure you remove the D cells if you got them. You can leave in the AA memory batteries, that's fine. Lift the back off. Make sure that the bottom of the radio is faced towards you when you're doing this, so that the antenna, which is here, is on the left side. The radio's turned around and laid down. I got the wire hooked on the back, so I can't turn it over to show you. The back is on, I got it all together. So I'm just reading the step-by-step instructions. After you get the back off, then you're going to see a 8-wire ribbon cable. It's going to be a whitish gray wire that is located in the center of the IF and RF board, which is on the top here. There's a lower board and there's an upper board. It's on the back. And you will see that on this video towards the end, as I said. From the left side of that ribbon cable, the second connector in, you pull the 8-pin wire plug out and bend up 1 wire plug and push it back down. That's all there is to it. You don't need to cut any diodes. On the DX390, you either cut a green wire or you lift up one end of a diode, which is the recommended way to do it, and that all can be done from the top of the radio. All you need to do is take the back off. On the DX390, there is no diode to lift. You just lift up 1 wire on that plug, which I will show you on the end of this video. So it's not very long. The clip is short, so pay attention. Put the back on, and you're in business. It's not a hard mod. I thought it was. I did not do this to the one I've got in the house. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do it because I have some weird sounds out of this thing. You don't get the chuffing, but if you have the treble up too high, you get some squeals. especially on FM, and other noises. You get a thumping going through it, but that's not as bad as that click, 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 or what they call a chuffing sound. You no longer get that. So I'm going to zoom in on this radio now. I've got about a 10-foot wire going around the shop here, and I may have to turn off. This is an LED light here. I may have to turn that off if it makes too much noise. This LED overhead 4-foot light causes a lot of interference with the LED driver that's in it. So I may have to shut that off too. What I have here is the DX440 close up, zoomed in. That's what I like about the Samsung. It's not high quality by no means. It's in fact just pretty poor video quality, but it has a good feature. It does a decent macro, and it has an optical zoom. What I'm going to do now is to turn off the main LED overhead light. Okay, and we're just going to keep this one on because you do need some light on here. Get my glasses on here. Put the radio on. Oh, the radio was on. Alright, we'll just turn this up a little bit. I'll hold down the light. That's what I don't like about these radios. Even you're running it on the AC adapter, that light should stay on, but that's just the way it is. So I am going to turn the radio up. I'm going down in frequency. We're supposedly on we're getting near the 40 meter band here. $41 meters. Now I hear that, you get that clicking when she locks into a station and it goes out. Hear it? Sound like static. But you don't get the chumping. I think I can live with this rather than the chumping. Fingers getting tired holding that button down. I hope you can see this with my big ugly head in the way. $49 meters now. I'm going back and forth, so it's... Now, my DX440 at home, turn this down a minute, the good one I got in the house, has been fixed once by a guy about 10 years ago because it would run away on the frequency. You would spin it like this and it would just go out of control. It would go all over the place. And the only way I could really use it is to punch it in. It's been fixed. I don't know exactly what they did in here, but it's starting to do that again. This one don't run away. So from what I've been reading, I downloaded the service manual on this, but it's very difficult to follow solid state. The schematic and the whole manual is terrible quality. It's a very, very poor scan. Most of it is faded out. It's like it ran out of ink or something, and it was terrible. It was probably a scan of a scan of a scan, you know? So, anyways, I was looking at the schematic of this, and also a pictorial diagram. On this tuning knob here, this tuning knob contains 4 stiff, thin wires, which are contacts, and that's how that works. There's no variable capacitor or inductor or anything like that that tunes. It's got an odd, what I consider an oddball way of tuning. I don't know much about solid state and all this stuff here. I'm pretty dumb out of them. I mean, I've dabbled around in it, but I've never really, I tried learning, but got a thick brain here. I can't absorb some of the information. So I'm not sure how this works, but when you do the mod, I had feared that I would have had to pull off this tuning knob, which you usually destroy trying to take it off. Some come off easy, some don't, and you've got to line up them 4 little wires that go on the inside of this knob. With my luck, I'll screw it up, I won't take it off. But fortunately, this mod did not require to take this knob off. All you had to do is remove 6 screws from the back. Be careful of the antenna connection wire. I just got a screwdriver stuck in the RCA jack, and I got it set for external antenna, because the antenna connector here, which I've got over here on the bench somewhere. Of course, I can't find nothing when I'm looking for it, as always. Is broken off with a sharp piece on here. You can get cut on it. So I took it out altogether, and when I run this, I'm going to run it on a outside antenna anyways. But I'm not sure if I'm going to use this for shortwave, because the BFO don't work, and if that don't work, I can't listen to single sideband. The one I got in the house works excellent. I could use that out here, but this, I was kind of like wanting to use this for shop radio for shortwave. So anyways, don't seem to be picking up too much. We're on the 4.3 megacycles now, but it don't seem to be too active. Let's see, 80 meters, 3885. RF gain works. Now I just turned the BFO on. Normally it'd be a horrible whistle. Nothing. So the BFO isn't working. So that corrosion that you'll be seeing on this video, that whole board is really messed up bad. And I know there's bad connections and open connections and everything else in this area. I'll turn this down. AM, actually medium wave. That's 880 in New York. That's not picking up anything but no interference. Not very good on AM. 1510 WNLC. It's way up here and it sounds like it's off frequency. So the only thing that works on this radio is FM. It works really well. But I think it's off frequency too. I think it's off frequency too. So anyways, it's not very useful. Now, maybe later on tonight it might pick up more, I don't know. The only way I'm going to know is to, let's shut this off. The only way I'm going to know if this works is to get my good DX440 out here. I'm not going to do that tonight. We're not going to do that tonight, everybody. We're winding it down. We're going to unplug it. shut off everything here. And I will make that test. I'll do that off camera. Okay, if you look right through here, I'm using a plastic pen here. It's all corroded through here. I'm not 100% sure if that's it, but this is the backside area of those switches. The beat frequency oscillator, your lockout switch, and one other switch I can't remember what it was, is all in this area here. Now this is the lower right-hand corner as you're looking at the radio from the front. So what I'm going to try to do, I've got that CRC cleaner, I'm going to spray on that and see if I can take a non-conductive piece of plastic or something like that, try to scrape it down. I'll do it off camera very gently and see if I can see anything with my eye lobe and see if there's any damages and broken traces. Now if you look on this side of the board here, nice and clean and not, you see how those traces are right there? Right there, see how nice and crisp they are? If you look over here, they're really screwed up. Some kind of corrosion got in there. I can get you some better light. That interference is from this light here. I'm using a LED rather in this drop light here with the magnifier. But you can see I tried cleaning that. I use this with the CRC cleaner, which is all I have right now. I used a cotton swab and I used a cloth on it. It doesn't seem to come off. It seems to be some kind of a weird corrosion, but only in this area here. All right. There was a piece of plastic right here which I took out. It just lays underneath this wire. I lifted this wire up so that I can clean it, so it goes back up underneath there. Then the wire gets pushed down on top of it. We'll do that off camera. So I'm not sure if that's the problem, but this whole area is not working. So if it was a matter of the soldering connections, well, there's a 50% chance I would bridge them out trying to resolder them, and 50% chance I would succeed, but that's not the problem. I'm pretty sure it is something to do with these actual traces. It's like, you can see how they are. They're very, 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 they're strange looking. They're just like corroded. Well, it's nothing I can fix. Obviously, there's severe corrosion on that board. It's way too small. I don't dare try to put jumpers in there and stuff. That it's got about 20 or 30 bad areas in there. This whole lower quarter of that board, the green board down below there, is shot. And that is the bottom right-hand corner. Those three bottom switches don't seem to be working. So that's the back side of this board right here. So this whole area where my thumb is, from here right over, is shot. And I'll bet you that's what's wrong with this radio. But that's beyond me. So I don't think we're going to do much with it other than close it up. We got the chuffing out of it. So if you need to do a modification, the second pin, just lift up the second pin. Right here. And you'll get rid of the chuffing. A lot easier than I thought. But other than that, this radio, I'm going to do is close it back up, and it does work, but it doesn't work too well, and I will not be able to listen to a single sideband. Of course, CW I don't listen to anyways because I don't understand it, but and as far as shortwave is concerned, I won't know until later on. Maybe tonight or some night I'll put an antenna on it and see if I can pick up any of the 40 and 80 meter bands. Other than that, well, I only paid $2 for it. Thank you for watching.